it. Now I can kind of talk to people about that. Here comes everyone. So people's audio is connecting, and if you'll please stay muted for a few minutes. When it's your turn, I will repeat myself. When it's your turn, you'll have an opportunity to speak, but we're keeping everybody muted because if we all talk, the audio cancels out and then I can't hear anyone. I'm Judge Person. Good morning and welcome to the Temple Municipal Court. I do have a few people I haven't been able to identify. The first one I'm going to try to flesh out is Zoom user. I'm asking you to unmute. Gentleman with glasses, bun on the head. Could you it's okay. Tell me your name, please. Unmute and tell me your name.
Alfredo Ortiz.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Let me get you marked in. Great. And I'll change your name on the screen so that I don't lose track of you. And a person who was named U705AC, gentleman with a mustache. Tell me your name, please. Unmute, please.
It's Darren Dwayne Drummond.
Thank you, Mr. Drummond. Now I have you checked in. I have a couple of thank you, and I'm going to change the name on the screen. I have a few people on the meeting that are on the telephone. If you're on the telephone, listen up. First one I want to ask about is phone number beginning with area code 972. And then the second to the last three numbers are 777. Could you unmute and tell me your name? Caller on the line. If you're on the phone and your area code is 972, could you unmute and tell us your name? And the other caller I have is a phone number beginning with 254, and the last second to the last three numbers are 244. I'm hitting you with an unmute request to please tell me your name. Okay, I'll keep trying to sort that out. Oh, there you are. Yes?
Hello.
Yes, hi. What's your name, please?
Oh, Mary Wysong.
Thank you, Ms. Wysong. We'll take you shortly. What you're not able to see is that we're in a kind of a virtual room, and there are about 10 people in this room. And so when it's your turn, you're actually going to meet with the prosecutor, and that'll be by phone. But when I do that, I'll call you out again, and I'll ask you to, just one moment, I'm being signaled. Your case was dismissed this morning by the prosecutor. She reviewed the information that you submitted. I signed that, and we are emailing it. We're going to mail that to the address that we have on file. Okay, Ms. Wysong?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're actually finished. You don't need to be here.
Oh, okay. So shall I hang up, ma'am?
No, yes, you can hang up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll send that to you in the mail.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Be safe. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Also, Walter Huggins. Mr. Huggins.
Yes.
Good morning. The same thing. I know he doesn't have anything else. On the case that you had filed the not guilty on, The
Mhm.
prosecutor reviewed your case and the information provided, and she has dismissed that this morning. I signed it just about 2 minutes ago. And
Okay.
so, you know, we will be emailing that to your email. We emailed it this morning. It should
Okay.
be
Well, thank you.
in your inbox, okay?
Okay. So I'm good to go.
You are good to go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Stay well. And this person. Okay, it looks like we've narrowed everything down. And so I just want to give some brief information before we get going. Again, my name is Judge Person, and I do welcome everybody to court. I want to give you some basic information. When you're given a ticket, or if you're given a summons, pursuant to a complaint, that complaint and that ticket, both of those are methods that the law employs to accuse you of an offense, okay? So when you receive that ticket, you're accused of an offense. When you give a plea, you're giving an answer to that offense. You're giving your response. And there are 3 options for pleading: guilty, not guilty, and no contest. If you plead guilty, you're saying, I did this offense. If you plead not guilty, you're saying, I'm contesting this charge. Ultimately, you're also saying the state should prove this case against me, okay? And then if you plead no contest, you're saying, I'm not going to say I did it, not going to say I didn't do it, not contesting it. I want to move forward with sentencing without saying yes or no, okay? So if you plead guilty or no contest, I'm going to move forward with sentencing. At that point, traditionally, you're found guilty, you pay it. There are still 4 ways to gain a dismissal. I'm about to just briefly give you an overview of those, and then we're going to get started because I know your time is important. If you plead not guilty, we're moving that case onto the contested docket. And that means that the state has the right to try to prove that case against you. You have the right to confront the accuser, okay? And that is a courtroom proceeding. So if you're on that docket, you're scheduled to come in for a final pretrial. There we do some pretrial matters, including setting your bond. That's why financial information is important. And also on that docket, any pre-trial matters that need to be discussed. We do that live because at that point, we're starting to employ tax dollars to pay for that jury. And when we do that, we need to make sure everybody understands when, what, where, why, how. So, and I'm understanding Ms. Savage can't hear me. Is everybody unable to hear me? Can people hear me? If you can hear me, thumbs up.
I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Well, thanks for letting us know. And looks okay, but of course, if I say if you can't hear me, let me know. Well, you can't tell me. So I'll try to keep working with people, and I'll try to speak up. Sometimes the microphone on this computer, the way computers are, if I'm not right in front of it, so I try to talk to you that way. When I turn my head, I'm usually talking to the prosecutor, just to try to clear up things I'm trying to do in the courtroom. But anyway, so if you're on the pretrial docket, you've pleaded not guilty, and we're moving that forward toward trial is really the assumption, unless the case is resolved. There's a long-winded legal reason why we do that. And I'm not going to go into that now because it would take longer than court should take. But just assured, there are rights that get invoked, and in order to protect those, there's a process that is in place. Okay, so if you've pled guilty or no contest, or if the plea becomes that at any point, there are still 4 ways to gain a dismissal if you're eligible for the method. So first I'm gonna tell you what they are, give you the overview, then I'll give you a quick rundown of each one. In compliance dismissals, driver safety course options, deferred dispositions, and teen court. Compliance dismissals are things that can be brought up to date and dismissed. Now, if you have something that can be handled that way, I'll start talking to you about it to see if we can get you to that point, okay? You can ask me, but oftentimes in court, people don't know the right questions. They worry about it, which makes it even harder to think of the right question. I'm just going to start doing that with you. The law really says that I will do that. Okay, so I will try to do that right up front. The second thing is driver safety course options. If you have and are eligible for a driver safety course option and you complete the process, then you gain a dismissal. Just a word about that. Every ticket has a court cost and a fine, but when you hear the number from the court, we usually just give you the whole number. There's probably like 4 different ways you can break that number down, and it can get pretty detailed of what happens to that money and what those are about. But the court costs are set by the state legislature. I can't change them. The fine is set by the judge. Okay. So in the driving safety course option, if you're eligible, you pay just the court costs. Your fine goes on hold. And if you get your course and your record turned in on time, your ticket gets dismissed and that fine that was on hold gets waived. Even though you pay for your course and your record and you turn them in on time, and it has to be the right course, the right record on time. If you do it correctly, you get a dismissal, even though you pay for the course and the record. The course, the record, and the costs are less expensive than the whole ticket. And that is by design. The reason for that is because it's voluntary. And we want people to volunteer into some better driving. If you received a ticket, statistically speaking, just receiving the ticket moves you into a higher bracket of risk for injury, death, and dismemberment. Texas is the #1 state to be injured, hurt, or killed on the roadway. If you're 25 and under, we're the super champ state. And it's unfortunate, but the method for addressing it really is the driving course. And so we incentivize it because what we're really about in the end is safety. Okay. And so that's why we have the system that we have. It's a public safety issue. Okay. So that's the reason for that. I'm going to automatically start screening you to see if you're eligible to be in it. In fact, I've done some preliminary determinations this morning. And if you want to do it, then we're going to try to do that. If you can't do it, don't want to do it, you don't have to. We can't force you and you're not required. But you will save money, and that's the incentive. Okay. So what you can expect from me is that I'll tell you if you're eligible, but you're welcome to ask if you want to. Or if you think I missed something, that's fine. Just let me know or ask me, hey, what's, can I do that? And I'll talk to you about it. The third option for dismissal is called a deferred disposition. A deferred means delay. Disposition means to make final. We delay making your case final. We put an order in place. If you fulfill the requirements of the order, which will be listed on a sheet of paper that you sign, that order, if you follow it, will result in a dismissal. And the way that you get that option, instead of me telling you, hey, you could do this, I'm telling you now, what you could do is guilty, Your Honor, or no contest, Your Honor, but I'd like a deferred disposition. So start signaling to me about that if that's what you're wanting to do. Normally, we sort out payment of fines and costs, whether there's a record due, a certificate due, a class due, something due, okay? No tickets during the deferral period, which is up to 6 months. It's usually between 4 to 6 months, okay? Don't get warranted, don't get arrested, don't get charged with anything else. And if you have a court date, come to court on time. Keep your address current. Mostly things just to not do, okay? The only affirmatives are figuring out the payment structure, which we'll do together, and if there's a class, okay? All right, so that one is guilty or no contest. I'd like a deferred. You make the request, and you're required to make that request. I just like explaining that because in a Class C court, you can ask the judge or the prosecutor. When you go to other courts, if you've ever watched a proceeding online or whatever, you have to go to the prosecutor. And so people oftentimes think they can't ask, okay? And so the judge does have to approve it, but you can do that through me or through Ms. Rice. Ms. Rice, if she'll give a waive, is the city's prosecutor. And there is a meeting that's about to start with her. And those of you who pleaded not guilty will go onto her docket in just a quick moment. And then the last thing is if you're eligible and complete teen court, you can have a dismissal. And that's for middle school, high school students enrolled toward the diploma or the equivalent of the diploma. And I'll talk to you about that if that's you. Okay, So I'm going to create the breakout room and let's see. And it's Miss Rice is going to go into that room, and her first person is Alfredo Ortiz Roca. And Mr. Roja, when you're finished with that meeting, you're going to come back into this meeting. Okay. Thank you. You'll have an invitation on the screen now. And those left over are folks on my docket. Although I need to call real quickly, make sure, because the phone caller, if I call your name, if I don't call your name, I know you're here. If I call your name, I don't know you're here. So unmute and talk to me. Melinda Bass, could you unmute if you're here and talk to me? Ashley Cox. Cesar Rabocava Plasanicia. And Brock Wagonar. Luis de la Garza. Jasmine Grimaldi. Fernando Hernandez. Stephanie Tomasic. So let me call if I think you're here, just because apparently no one answered, but there's someone here. I don't know who they are. Let's see. Melinda Bass. Okay. Well, there's no one waiting. There's a caller sitting there and is not responding to requests to unmute or shout outs of the name. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, well, I'm just going to move forward and not worry about it, and we'll keep trying to address that caller. Let me start with Javier Sabrinana. Good morning, Mr. Sabrinana. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for asking. I'm fine. Let me get your file pulled up. I did review your information, and you did enter a plea of, I believe, guilty to the red light charge that has fines and costs if you pay them of $269. Is that your plea today?
Yes.
Do you understand the options for pleading guilty, not guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Teen court, you requested a driver safety course, which I appreciate, but you're a high school student. And we're going to do something very similar. It won't be that different, except that we will save some money. With teen court, there's a $20 fee. We have to collect that in cash. And here at the court, where you're going to come in and sign your documents today. Can you pay that today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the next thing is I'm going to actually require a driver safety course. Okay. And the difference with teen court and the regular driver safety course is that it's due in 30 days on February 17th instead of 90 days, because you are in the top bracket for death and dismemberment on Texas roadways. I really want you safe, and I want you safe sooner rather than later. Okay.
Yes,
it's a class you can take around town, or you can take it online. It just needs to be the 6-hour class approved for ticket dismissal. And you can take it and get it in on time and have your case dismissed. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And so when can you come in this morning? You can bring a parent, but you're not required to because you're 17.
You can go in about 20 minutes.
I can go like maybe 20 minutes.
Okay. I just signed your documents, and so we'll have that at the front desk for you. And you just come in, preferably masked if you can manage it, because things are tough right now for all of us. And but anyway, proceed to the front desk, and they will help you there. And if you have any questions, they're going to attach information about your class. Do you have any questions right now?
Where do you turn it in?
Where do I turn it in at?
Exactly the same place where you signed.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to let you go. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I'm moving to Teresa Savage. Good morning, Miss Savage. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good morning.
Morning. Listen, I received your information And let's see, the charge was a speeding charge from December 7th. If you paid it, it is $279. And you entered a plea of no contest and requested a payment plan. I can do that, but I will tell you that there's a couple of things. Just real quickly, is she on time? I can also just authorize community service instead.
Okay.
If you want to do that, I can do that. I looked at it. No, I'm sorry, I misread. I'm
Oh,
not
it's okay.
able to do it, but still I can keep it a low payment. Actually, you had requested $75 and that I can do that, but I could lower it. You also are eligible to do a driver safety course option. Now,
Okay.
if you took that route, it would keep it off your record. However, we'd have to collect the court costs up front, and they are $169. I believe, I'm just verifying that real quickly. Yes, they're $169. If you couldn't do that today, you could come in and get or sign an extension at home and email it back to us. And I could give you time, a date specific in the next few, 2 to 4 weeks date timeline
Okay.
to do that. And so I can give you time to collect that together, provided you stay on time for court. What would your option be? What do you want to do?
Yes, I would like to do the driving course and then
Okay.
that extension.
Okay, looking at a calendar, and if you can look at one, I'll look at
Okay.
one as well. Looking at a calendar, can you tell me what is the best date for you?
For the extension,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, let me see here. Sorry, and you said how long out? I'm sorry.
Okay, well, about how long do you think you would need? That's really,
Um,
I can work.
okay. Let me see what today is.
The day is the 13th. So 4 weeks from today, for example, or 4 weeks from tomorrow, I don't know when you get paid, would be February 10th.
That would work. That would work. February 10th would work.
Okay, so now we have to talk about how we get your signature on an extension. I can
Okay.
work with you on that too.
Okay, great.
Are you, let's see, you're in Cove. If I
Mhm.
send you an extension request, can you sign it and you've got to print it and sign it yourself? I can't take
Okay.
an e-signature, but you can print it, sign it, print it, sign it, and email it back to me, either through a photo or through a scan to
Okay.
that court online help email that we sent your meeting for today, the meeting link. Can you
Okay.
do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so email an extension to 21022, and that's going to say that you're going to sign up for DSC. And that'll mean we need driver's license, insurance, and the 169. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And so when you're coming back in to do that, and you can probably do that through email, just when you send the extension in, ask for information about how to do that through email. We can probably do that. I think the clerk is set up to do that, but they'll
Okay.
email you back with the information. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
You have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. You're good to go.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Savage.
Bye.
And Ms. Rice, bye-bye. If you'll unmute, and let me pull Mr. Ortiz's file. I am missing, hold on, I'm not missing it, but I'm overlooking it somehow. There it is. Okay, and so Ms. Rice, Mr. Ortiz, can you just let me know what's going on?
Yeah, Mr. Ortiz had a problem with his phone, so he said he was going to try to log back into the meeting, and he hung up. But we talked about his case. I looked at the information he provided. States request this, and I'll send over a dismissal later today after court. There he is.
Okay, yes, you're dismissing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I'm having a little trouble because I've had phone callers that aren't identifying themselves. Give me just a moment before I excuse you. Let me let Mr. Ortiz know what's happening to you. Mr. Ortiz Roja?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for coming back into the meeting. Perfect. Ms. Rice has informed me that she is pushing a dismissal forward on your case. And that's going to be emailed to you to the email where we set up the meeting today.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And so, but it'll be later today. And sorry, I'm just making a note. And so you can look for that email later today. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So I don't have to go to the courthouse or sign anything.
No, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for real.
Yes, you're good to go.
You have a great day, man.
You too. Okay. So it doesn't. Sometimes it's the last three and sometimes it's not. Okay, Miss Bass, I see you here. We'll be with you shortly. There are several people ahead of you. And thank you for being diligent. We'll be with you shortly. Do we see anyone ending in on the pretrial docket? I'm trying to figure out phone numbers. 777 in there. Yeah, well, it's not De La Garza. That one's on. It's not Huggins. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to see if I can excuse her. On the pretrial docket, I'm trying to see, is there anybody that Miss Rice needs to visit with that is ending in 777? Phone caller 777-972, ending 777. Can you please speak up? I don't know who you are, and it might be your turn, and we're about to skip you. So I'm going to disconnect you in hopes that you'll call back and identify yourself. Can you please identify yourself? Are you there? So it's not really going to be a meeting if we can't hear you or see you. Okay. So I'm going to remove you because we're not effectively communicating. And I'm hoping that what will happen is you'll either call the clerk because you're having technical difficulties or you'll call back into the meeting. If you're calling the clerk, the number is 254-298-5687, 254-298-5687. Ms. Rice, can you hold tight for a few minutes? And then I'll let you go. You can
That's fine.
go off screen if you want.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. None of the people waiting for you appear to have that. But anyway, I'm going to move forward. And my next person is Hector Chavez. Good morning, Mr. Chavez.
Good morning, ma'am.
How are you?
Good.
Sound like stuff stopped up. Are you sick?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What's wrong? Cold or?
Just congested nose.
Okay. So I have you here for a speeding charge. And if you paid it, it's $264. I have proof of enrollment in Temple Independent School District. And I also have a request for teen court, which I will grant. There's a $20 fee for teen court. And then a class for you to do, a driving safety course. And that's going to be due on the 17th of February. Question I have for you is, has the school sent you home to quarantine?
No, ma'am.
Have you tested positive for COVID?
No, ma'am.
Have you done a test at all?
No, ma'am.
You don't know you could or could, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I want to do is I don't want you more sick and I don't want anyone at staff sick if I can help it. So what I think I'm going to do, can you sign an extension if we email it to you and send it back to us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're going to extend you for 2 weeks to get well. And then the thing is, I'm going to go ahead and grant teen court for that extension date, which is going to be the 26th. And once you are not exhibiting symptoms, if it's before that date, come on in and just do your paperwork at the front desk. If if it takes until the 26th and you're still not feeling well, log in and we'll talk some more, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to say on the 26th, today I need back your extension request, okay? And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
what I'm going to say is Teen Court, you're paying your fee on the 26th, which is your comeback date. And your course is due, and I'm not going to say the 17th, I'm going to say March 3rd is going to be the due date. And then your driving safety course information will be with your packet for Teen Court, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So in other words, I'm granting your request. It's just on hold until you're well. And you are just emailing an extension, and then just don't forget about us, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Because what I'm wanting to do is make sure that you're well before you come in, okay? Okay, and not, since we have to collect cash from you, it's only $20, but since you have to do that in person, we'll just delay the signing of your documents until then, okay?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. All right.
Thank
Have
you,
a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. You too. You're good to go. Okay, Ms. Rice, seeing no one else coming back in, we'll let you know if they phone back in and it's someone you were supposed to talk to, but I think 35 minutes since court started is ample time. You're free to go.
Okay, all right, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Mr. Drummond, you're next. Let me pull your file. How are you this morning? I'm sorry, just unmute, and so then I can hear you. Not yet. You haven't quite done it. Let me do an invitation. Sometimes that helps.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you. Good morning.
How you doing? Good morning.
Good. Thank you. I'm well, and I'm glad you're well. I did receive your information. It's a driving while license invalid charge. The fines and costs total $281. Let me ask the clerk a really quick question.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you do, but either everyone was. Prosecutor. Okay, so options. Okay, so the dismissal options I described includes a deferred disposition, and so I've got a couple of things going on with this. I could do a deferred, but I report those deferreds to DPS, and when you have an invalid license, then they know you were driving when you shouldn't have been. Okay.
Right.
And I really don't know if you knew or didn't know, and I'm not diving into that inquiry. What I want to dive into is, what do you need to do to get your license back?
I've got to pay a reinstatement fee of $105.75, and a ticket in Nueces County back in 2005 is, I think, $140. And that $140 is going to be paid today.
Is that
And
the only thing? Oh, go ahead.
And the reinstatement fee will be paid Friday, tomorrow.
Okay. So then DPS will release your license. Okay. So
Yes.
big news flash on that. The news flash on that is it will take them about 21 days to clear you, or it could be longer. Do you know how to log in and see if your license is valid?
Yes.
Critical that you not get more tickets, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then once you can lawfully drive, you can. And that's when I'd like to start your deferred. So
Okay.
what I'm inclined to do is extend you to February 17th.
February 17th.
That's 30 days from today, roughly. It's a little bit more. And then we do a deferred at that time.
Okay.
So I would write, I'm extending you to 2/17/22 to get valid DL. And then we start the process. So once your license is valid, okay, print off proof. Can you print at home?
I could probably find somebody to help me out.
Okay, that would be really great. So print off proof that it's valid, okay? And bring that to the court. They'll put it in your file, and then we can get your deferred knocked out 30 days from today. At that point, I'll be looking for you to come in and sign your deferred. I'll be looking for payment option. So I don't mind the $50 a month payment plan. It doesn't work particularly well with the deferral, because deferrals, I have a couple of limits. One is I have about a 3-month window to collect your fees, which are $281. And I can do payments within that, but I can't do 50, 50, 50, 50, because it would be almost 6 payments, and I only get 3. If I divide it into 3, it's $94 each time, but I can go, you know,
That's
94.
definitely doable.
Right. And so I'm just giving you a heads up, because right now, 30 days out, you can start kind of planning.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know, most of us, if we have a little leverage in our income, not a lot, we with enough time, we can plan around things. So just kind of be prepared for that. The next question is, do you feel like you're well enough to come in today? No COVID risk or anything like that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I just want you to come in and sign that extension. And I think that would be easier than trying to find someone to help you print, because we're not very far from where you live. So what time do you think you might arrive?
It's maybe lunchtime, somewhere like 12.
Okay, noon is great. We'll be here. Just come to the window, mask if you will, so that, you know, you're safe, and clerk too. And, you know, it'll take about 2 to 5 minutes. Just let them know who you are. Okay. Just make sure you're not driving illegally to get here, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know it's really tricky when you get into this position, but what I'm trying to do is see what I don't know. And this is something to be aware of. I do not know what the ticket is in Nueces County, but is it a traffic offense?
Yeah, I was speeding in 2005.
Okay, do you owe them money for an old ticket, or is it, have you entered a plea already? Or is it something you're entering a plea and paying fresh?
It went to, I guess, what would it be called?
Election agent?
Yes, ma'am. That's why it's 140 now instead of 110. So
Okay.
I plea.
You haven't entered a plea yet?
No, ma'am. I was incarcerated for 8 years. I had sent them to see if I could get time served, but they never did send me a referral or nothing back.
When did you send that?
That would be probably 2016 somewhere.
Okay, if you have proof of incarceration and it happened after the date of the stop, which it sounds like it definitely did, I would request that, because the law changed in August on this issue. And
Okay.
I do believe they're required to give you credit.
I will definitely check into that.
I would call them and see, okay? I would call them and see. And when you call them and see, ask, did I already enter a plea, or is this going to be a new conviction? Because the new conviction can trigger a suspension on the license if you're already suspended when you receive the new conviction.
A new conviction, or what was the other?
A new conviction on your license while it's suspended, which it currently is. You're kind of caught. You're kind of caught at that point. And even though the driving is old, it's back in 2005. What I do not know, because I don't do this law in my court, so I can't give you legal advice about it. For me, it's a question mark. I don't know the answer to this. I will tell you what I don't know. What I don't know is if the offense date is before my license was suspended, it wasn't during a suspension period, an old one. My license was free and clear at that time, but I take the conviction while my license is suspended, doesn't count against my license in terms of another suspension. And I simply do not know the answer. The way you're going to find out the answer, that court is not going to know. The way you're going to find out is, and I'm not sure if this question's answered, on the website. DPS website is a good place to look for that information. You can talk to a lawyer who does license revocation proceedings, or you'll get a letter in the mail from them, from DPS. So
Okay.
I don't mind delaying and seeing if we can get you free and clear. If you can't, if that new case triggers a suspension and if there's nothing you can do about that, to prevent it, then the answer is you get an occupational license. I can give you a packet. So at the next hearing in a month, if your license isn't clear and you look online and see why it isn't clear, then I can give you information for where you go and how you obtain the occupational. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So remind me if I don't remember. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Well, so come on by and sign that extension. We'll see you here.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Be safe.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And then Ms. Bass, can you unmute your phone and let's talk? Ms. Bass, good morning. Hi, how are you this morning, Ms. Bass?
I'm okay now. I was having a little problem getting to you. Got a little nervous.
That's okay. I'm glad you were persistent. Thank you for doing that. I received your written information that you brought to the court, and I had a couple of questions. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I received your plea of guilty on your driving the wrong way on a one-way, and I received your plea of guilty on your driving while license invalid charge. And I guess I wondered, and we did receive your ID, which I think you can't drive with it, although it's good to have to identify yourself so you don't go to jail. But what's happened with your license?
I'm still trying to figure all of that out. I guess in 2000, it was suspended for an accident.
Okay, yes.
I tried to go through because they said if I found on the DPS sign that if nothing had been done within 10 years, that it could be dropped. So I tried to do that, and then I was told that basically that I needed to get an attorney because I really don't know what's going on with it. I never knew that there was a court hearing, or I never got in a thing to appear in 2000. Actually, in 2000, I was in San Diego, California.
Yes. So they might have mailed, what they are allowed to do is send information to the address that's on file with DPS. And if you haven't changed your license at that point, or you did and it wasn't quickly enough or at the right time, you can miss that notice. So sometimes you don't get a chance to be heard at that proceeding. I really don't know a lot more about that. Are you connected to the DPS website for reinstating the license?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going through all of that now. After 23 years of marriage, I got divorced last year, and I never drove.
Okay.
My ex-husband didn't allow it, so I didn't know any of this.
Okay.
Until I went to get my license. So I am on that website, and I am working with everyone. I got a vehicle with insurance and SR22. I've been doing everything they've told me to do.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I think that we're going to go ahead and proceed with your case today. I'm also going to have information at the front desk for you on how to get an occupational license so that you can drive while you're trying to get your license back to good shape, because you need to drive lawfully, or you're going to keep making a bigger and bigger hole that's harder and harder to get out of. And I recognize that you have been through some trauma and divorce, and that you're now trying to pick things up and get pulled back together. So that's great news. But the best way to do that is to have a valid license so that when you're out there driving, you're not in fear of going to jail. Okay. Now, I'll go ahead and accept your pleas of guilty on both of your cases. And then here's a thing. I can order community service, but I see that you are collecting SSI. And so I'm wondering, are you disabled?
Yes, ma'am. I have COPD and stage 3 lymphoma.
Okay. And hold on. Okay. COVID's not a good time for you to be doing community service. So here's what I normally do. Okay. I go ahead and order the community service because it's appropriate with regard to the income that you have. I don't think it's advisable that the court take more of your income, although I recognize that you were wanting to do payments. So the next thing I would do is say, can you get a doctor's note excusing you from community service so that I can waive it?
Oh, I can try. Yes, ma'am. I can get hold of my doctor. I'm sure he will, because unfortunately with the COVID and stuff, he doesn't like me out in public. But, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, I think if you weren't, the COPD in particular, I know your doctor probably has concerns. I just know that because my mother had COPD and COVID, it took her life. So I don't want you to take risks unless your doctor says it's not a risk for you. And I'm kind of doubting your doctor would say that. I think your doctor would say, don't go out there and do that. So I'm going to order community service, but I'm going to recognize that you're probably, instead of bringing me that service, you're probably going to bring me a doctor's note.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
That's fine. I just need it by the same due date, which is going to be March 15th.
March the 15th. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And so are you well right now? You don't think you have COVID right now?
Oh, no, ma'am, I don't. And I'm vaccinated.
Okay. So yeah, you can come on into the court. We're still asking for a mask right now because Bell County went to #1 alert yesterday, which means we're in uncontrolled community spread status right now. And so we can't force you to wear a mask. We'd like you to wear a mask for your safety and ours, but we'll have your information at the front desk and you'll come sign for your community service. Just note that the due date means your doctor's note. And there'll also be a big fat packet for you that's a step-by-step instruction for how to get your occupational license, okay?
Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to ask about that, but it'll be there. Thank you.
Yes, we'll have that for you. You're in my special group. I have a special group because I'm kind of a weird fan of seeing people get lawful on the road. Okay.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I want to be lawful. I am. I have been trying for the last 6 months to get there.
Okay. Well, it might help if you have step-by-step instructions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that'll be at the front desk. And when should we look for you, Ms. Bass?
Probably around about 2 o'clock.
Perfect. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Seeing no other person.